I think that's actually very good news for the Republicans, Sarah. What do you think? Because I feel like Republicans would love to see this guy be the standard bearer and the opponent. They don't want Michelle Obama swooping in. And if that's what this has done, shorn up his base into believing he's the guy, they should stick with him and he's going to see it through to the end. Okay.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, Megyn, especially after that performance last night, which again, great monologue. You couldn't have, no one could have said it better. But, I will point out the bar, people kept saying in the mainstream media, oh, well, I mean, he did a great job. He surpassed expectations. Right. But the expectation was, is he going to even survive? So the fact that he surpassed your expectations is not really saying much, in my opinion. It really stuck out to me that his first topic that he went to in the State of the Union address was addressing Ukraine. And really, doesn't that tell you all you need to know about this president? You mentioned, Megyn, that he considers himself to be humane. He always wants to point out, oh, well, that's the humane thing to do. It's not humane to say illegal. And he got in trouble for that. And I would just like to point out, it seems to be that all of his humanity goes to everyone except Americans, right? The humanity that he has, I'm so humane to talk about Ukraine and talk about how we need to be propping them up. Our taxpayer dollars need to go to Ukraine. Our taxpayer dollars need to fund all of these illegals coming into the country. We need to bring all of these illegals in. It seems to be, Megyn, that all of this humanity that I'm seeing from Joe Biden is towards every single other entity other than the American citizen. And it was just disgusting to watch him lie. Although, what else was he supposed to do? Because he has nothing to run on. He has no victories to tout. So, of course, he's going to lie, but it didn't make it any more settling to listen to and stomach, especially when we sit around, we're watching what's going on in America play out, and we know that it's just absolutely false.
Mm-hmm. Today, Josh, I mean, truly, it is like Churchill got up there, the way the media is talking about him. Scarborough, when I watch Scarborough right now, it's a reminder to me that some people are just desperate to be around power. He licked Donald Trump's boots when he thought Trump might be getting close to the White House. He couldn't have bent over and kissed and licked any harder, okay? Sorry for the graphic image, but he couldn't have. And then when he realized he wasn't going to be vice president, he got mad. He turned on him. And then we all saw how his coverage changed. And now that he's getting called by Joe Biden, we read this in the press, and reportedly Biden and his acolytes watch Morning Joe. He's once again swooning that he might have access to power. That's what I see in this man. Some of us, especially those of us who are actual journalists, we get more skeptical of you as you get more power. Right? It's our job to hold you to account. The higher you get, the less kind we are to be. The less likely we are to be kind to you. And he's the opposite. Anyway, take a look at this little mashup of him, among others, on the president.
I was not expecting what he did. He came out punching, forceful, strong voice. He threw boiling oil on MAGA, on Trump, on the Republicans without ever mentioning a name.
He had Frazier's left hook. This was a tour de force by Joe Biden. And in the words of Naomi Biden, doubt him, then watch him.
I thought the speech was very high caffeine. I think Joe Biden woke up this morning, had a cup of coffee and had his Wheaties. He was definitely there to fight.
This was his how about them apples speech.
So what do we watch the same thing, Josh? Or is that just them running cover? Or you know what I think it is? They're just relieved. They're relieved he didn't die.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I mean, you said it, Sarah said it. I mean, they are genuinely relieved that he did not keel over and have to be rushed to the ICU in the middle of that speech there. Someone, maybe it was Scarborough, who said he had his morning coffee and his Wheaties that day. I mean, I think it's more likely that they kind of gave him a little bit of Hunter Biden's cocaine from the White House, to be honest with you, if I had to guess there. I mean, because we haven't seen that kind of energy, whether real or drugged up, whatever, from this president in God knows how long, probably since he was campaigning for the White House the last time back in 2020. Look, I mean, there's no way to describe what we just saw there in that montage other than just Soviet-style propped up propaganda. That's all this is. I mean, this is regime media covering for the regime. They are terrified of the orange man bad. They are going to pull out every single stunt in the book, Megyn, over the next 7-8 months until this election in November, including going to the mattresses for Joe Biden when he manages to not die in front of a nationally televised audience. They're going to the mattresses with Jack Smith and all the lawfare. We have seen nothing yet. They are just getting started. Wait till the ads start blaring into the suburbs all across America about how January 6th was a Nazi-esque attempt at a coup. They're just going to go bonkers here. I really fear that this is kind of just a preview of what is to come over the next few months. It's going to be genuinely harrowing, I fear.
I mean, to even use the word Hitler, to make a reference to 1941 in the first minute or two of getting up there, how absurd. You're just, even if you want to zoom out and make it about much more than Donald Trump, that's just an absurd analogy to what is happening in the world today. It's generally not done. Most of us in media know you don't go to the Hitler comparisons, no matter how bad things are. It's just, you don't touch it. 6 million dead Jews in incinerators is not something to casually bring up at the top of the State of the Union so you can be reelected. Most of us know this. But he has no respect. And my only concern in this, Sarah, is that, people I think about my husband's mom. She's a wonderful, very smart woman who lives outside of Philadelphia, which is a purple state, more blue these days, but, pretty reasonable in its politics historically. And I worry that people who live in that area where she lives are watching this okay, he did it. He was together and, Trump is crazy. And he seemed all right without, they don't know necessarily that every other line was a lie and a manipulation by somebody who managed to crack a couple of jokes here and there, and thanks to some sort of shot of steroids or something, got through this with more energy than normal.
Yeah, I mean, look, you may be right, but I do at least have hope that those people that you're talking about, the average American who doesn't live in this world, who doesn't have time, quite honestly, to eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff like we do. My hope is that look, if it'd be different if this was a campaign speech, but this is the State of the Union after 3 years of Joe Biden's presidency. And they have to at least look around them and say, is my life better under Joe Biden? How much am I paying at the grocery store? How much more am I paying when I go to the gas pump? Why does everything cost more? He keeps talking about shrinkflation, and we're supposed to care that the Cookie Monster is upset that he gets less cookies in his, Oreos. And it's I really have to believe that the everyday average American sees right through him blaming it on everyone else. It's always the mean corporations. It couldn't possibly be Joe Biden's,
right,
disastrous economic policies. And so right. I have to believe that because we're living it, they're living it, and they have to know that this is a lie.
Yeah, you're right. Because it's almost like, we were talking about this recently, but when you see a liar in front of you, and their affect doesn't really match what they're saying, your gut feels it. There's a dishonesty happening here. You feel it on a gut level. Mm-hmm. And I do think with things like inflation and immigration, people are going to feel it on a gut level. They know it's bad. They know it's bad no matter what he says. But the Pravda style, propaganda that you referenced, Josh, I'll give you another example. In Scarborough, this is him. Just listen to this nonsense. I'm sorry, but it has to be called out. This is before the State of the Union. Okay, this is yesterday, him getting us ready. This is what a propagandist does. Take a listen.
He's far beyond cogent. In fact, I think he's better than he's ever been. Intellectually, analytically, because he's been around for 50 years. And, I don't know if people know this or not. Biden used to be a hothead. Start your tape right now, because I'm about to tell you the truth. And F you if you can't handle the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
This version of Biden, intellectually, analytically, is the best Biden ever.
Oh, my God. I mean, he might as well have just ended it with, because he's listening to me, because I've gotten in his head. So I'm telling you, this is the best ever, Josh.
Megyn, for the younger listeners here, I feel like I have to remind the younger listeners here, Joe Scarborough was a Republican congressman from a very, very red district in the Florida Panhandle. He was NRA endorsed. If they had a House Freedom Caucus back then, Joe Scarborough probably would have been a founding member. He had a very conservative voting record over his 3 to 4 terms in Congress. And he has just obviously lost his everlasting mind. And he's not the only example. There's so many examples that I could point to. I'll give you just one other, Megyn. A former federal judge by the name of Judge J. Michael Ludig. He was a federal judge on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fourth Circuit. He was the conservative rock star. All the top tier law students clerked for him. Ted Cruz, John Eastman, Noel Francisco. He was sending 3-4 clerks a year to the Supreme Court. He was a short lister for the seat that ultimately went to John Roberts during the Bush administration. Then he retired from the bench. He served at Boeing as general counsel for 13 years, reemerges a few years ago during COVID as a public commentator. And he's been just a viciously anti-Trump, quote unquote, legal eagle. And in particular, Megyn, he has been probably the leading number one national proponent of the argument that Donald Trump is disqualified from the ballot because of the 14th Amendment, Section 3, so-called insurrection clause. In fact, after the Colorado Supreme Court in December held 4-3 that Trump was disqualified, Ludig did the rounds on CNN and MSNBC and said that this logic was masterful, brilliant, and unassailable. Yeah, so unassailable that even Sonia Sotomayor and Ketanji Brown Jackson did not sign up for it. So these people who once had their conservative bona fides lined up, again, Orange Man, they just lose it.
Grand Canyon University, a private Christian university in beautiful Phoenix, Arizona, believes that equal opportunity is important and that the American dream starts with purpose. Change the world for good by putting others before yourself. Whether your pursuit involves a bachelor's, master's, or doctoral degree, GCU's online, on-campus, and hybrid learning environments are designed to help you achieve your unique academic, personal, and professional goals. With over 330 academic programs as of September, GCU meets you where you are and provides a path to help you fulfill your dreams. The pursuit to serve others is yours. Let it flourish. Find your purpose at Grand Canyon University. Private, Christian, affordable. Visit gcu.edu. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.